for films and filmmaking and art forms that maybe seem old and boring to new audiences, but for us, the people that grew up on them, for us, they're special and they matter. Hey everybody, my name is Nick. I am a director and editor living in Taiwan, and today I want to talk about the film Goodbye Dragon Inn, directed by Tsai Ming-liang. Goodbye Dragon Inn is a pretty simple film. It takes place over the course of one night in a single location in an old theater in Taipei's Yonghe district, and it's having its final screening before closing forever. The theater is playing the King Hu film Dragon Inn for its last screening. The most upfront interpretation of this movie, and one that many point out, is that this movie is an ode and a longing for cinema and the experience of viewing films in the theater. This is clearly indicated by the way that the film opens, showing the theater in the past, completely packed, screening the film Dragon Inn, a bunch of people enjoying the experience of sitting together and watching this movie. The film then transitions to show this empty, desolate space with only a few people wandering around. We can see through this juxtaposition of the first shot into the rest of the film where the theater is empty, that this is really a big point that he's trying to make. And he's trying to give you this visceral reaction of how this space that used to be so treasured and so celebrated by so many people is now abandoned and empty and basically pretty run down and soon to no longer be anymore. Within the cinema, the characters aren't even interested in the film Dragon Inn that they were so excited by within the first shot. Most of the characters in this film are wandering around, not even watching the film, doing their own thing. And the ones that are watching the film are hinted at to be ghosts, which is something I will get into a little bit later. So who are these characters that are wandering around the theater? Well, there's a ticket taker, a disabled woman with a limp, looking for a projectionist. Her goal is to give him some food. You can tell she has feelings for him through the way that she is so adamant about searching for him throughout the course of the film. Another person walking around the theater is a gay Japanese man who is looking for a sexual encounter in either the bathroom or behind the projection screen, just anywhere he can. But he has no success in his search because everybody he encounters seems uninterested and may in fact be a ghost. One of the only real people who you see watching the film is an actor from the film Dragon Inn. At the end of the film, when he exits the theater, he runs into another actor from the film who has attended the screening with his grandson. And the two actually have a discussion about how nobody cares about this great old film anymore. Another tie-in to this idea of cinema being a thing of the past. But this film is also about more than a longing for cinema. All of the characters are longing for something. A longing for love, a longing for sex, a longing for the past. Not just cinema, but the past in general, I think. This metaphor can be extended further, I think, to Tsai Ming-liang himself, the longing of the artist. We see the woman carrying the food, searching for the projectionist. She's like an artist searching for something to give to the people that we admire and respect. But as artists, most of our time is spent wandering, looking for this audience. Consider that the person that this ticket taker is trying to impress is the projectionist, the person responsible for putting the film on the screen. This is the challenge of the artist, constantly seeking the approval of the people who get our work seen. For many artists, a lot of this time is spent wandering and searching rather than actually giving the person the thing that you want to express. And so in the end, like the ticket taker, all we can do is leave our art on the table and hope that someone picks it up and appreciates it, as the projectionist does at the end of the film. But we never really know if what we created is appreciated by anyone. Consider this metaphor connected to the Japanese tourist looking for sex. This could be a representation of the audience, not looking for art, but rather looking for a cheap thrill and finding nothing but ghosts of the past. Another thought is that he too is an artist, one who is perpetually behind the trend. He heard that this old theater is a place where gay men meet up for sex, but that scene is over now. He sees a few ghosts hooking up, having fun, and he believes it's possible that he too could maybe get in on this. but really it's just an illusion of the past, something that's not real, it's ephemeral. So he continually stays in this abandoned old place, this old theater, the artist staying in the past, searching for someone to pick him up, to validate him, but there's nothing there, there's nothing left, it's gone. This is like an artist working in a dead medium, hoping to have a big film in a theater, or an album, or a book in a store, and never really getting that chance, but always thinking that there's a possibility. The Japanese tourist does get some interest from an obnoxious woman eating watermelon seeds, who might be a representation of the popcorn-eating popular culture. This tourist could perhaps have conventional heterosexual sex with this. This artist could get in bed with the conventional audience, as it were, the Hollywood blockbuster audience. But that's not what he's interested in. He's seeking something else. The art audience, perhaps. So this is what spoke to me when I examined this slow, contemplative film. It's a representation of maybe my feelings about how I feel about creating art and how difficult it is. But I think an interpretation of this film could also work in reverse. The closed down theater could be a metaphor for people getting older and giving up on love. And I don't think that Tai is interested in the supremacy of one idea here. The final question that you might consider is, why is the film Dragon Inn being shown? It's an interesting question, and something that I read when researching this video is that King Hu's filmmaking is almost exactly the opposite of Tsai Ming-liang's. It uses quick cuts, lots of movement, lots of kung fu action. This is very different when juxtaposed against Tsai Ming-liang's type of filmmaking, which is very slow, long takes, very minimal camera movement, even minimal dialogue. Dragon Inn, as well, is a film that was made for mass audiences at the time of its creation. But as a film, it's forgotten and even considered esoteric all the same now. So I think Tai picked this film and the filmmaking style of Dragon Inn to put up on the screen at this old theater to highlight how everyone working in the medium that he loves, filmmaking, is experiencing the same challenges and desires no matter what type of filmmaking you're engaged in. So this film, Dragon Inn, that was so popular and exciting in the past, is now an ancient kind of relic with a niche audience. So whether you're engaged in art filmmaking or you're engaged in popular filmmaking, as the future moves forward, this medium of filmmaking that we love so much will kind of decay and pass away as everything does. It's a sad thought, but the other part of it is that this film also shows the love and the empathy and the kind of engagement that Tsai Ming-liang has for cinema, because he recognizes how much the people that create this art really care about it. And I think it's not a display of feudalism to say that this will all be gone and there's nothing we can do about it. It's a call to say these things will be forgotten unless we remember them. So it's really about showing appreciation and I'll use the word love one more time for films and filmmaking and art forms that maybe seem old and boring to new audiences, but for us, the people that grew up on them, for us, they're special and they matter. So thanks for watching. Hit us up on Patreon if you want to support the channel. And remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your interpretation of the film Goodbye Dragon Inn down below. I do love hearing about it. Even if you think I'm totally crazy and you hate what I had to say, let me know in the comments. I mean, I'll argue back with you, but I always enjoy it.